Psalms 105. God and his people give thanks to the Lord, proclaim his greatness, tell the nations what he has done. Sing praise to the Lord, tell the wonderful things he has done. Be glad that we belong to him, let all who worship him rejoice. Go to the Lord for help and worship him continually. You descendants of Abraham, his servant, you descendants of Jacob, the man he chooses. Remember the miracles that God performed and the judgments that he gave. The Lord is our God. His commandments are for all the world. He will keep his covenant forever, his promises for 1,000 generations. He will keep the agreement he made with Abraham and his promise to Isaac. The Lord made a covenant with Jacob, one that will last forever. I will give you the land of Canaan, he said. It will be for your own possession. God's people were few in number, strangers in the land of Canaan. They wandered from country to country, from one kingdom to another. But God let no one oppress them to protect them. He warned the kings, "Don't harm my chosen servants. Do not touch my prophets." The Lord sent famine to their country, took away all their food. But he sent a man ahead of them, Joseph, who had been sold as a slave. His feet were kept in chains, with an iron collar was around his neck, until what he had predicted came true. The word of the Lord provided him right. Then the king of Egypt had him released. The ruler of the nation set him free. He put him in charge of his government and made him ruler over all the land, with power over the king's officials and authority to instruct his advisers. Then Jacob went to Egypt and settled in that country. The Lord gave many children to his people, and made them stronger than their enemies. He made the Egyptians hate his people, and treat his servants with deceit. Then he sent his servant Moses and Aaron, whom he had chosen. And they did God's mighty acts and performed miracles in Egypt. God sent darkness on the country, but the Egyptians did not obey his command. He turned their rivers into blood and killed all their fish. The country was overrun with frogs. Even the palace was filled with them. God commanded, and flies and gnats swarmed throughout the whole country. He sent hail and lightning on their land instead of rain. He destroyed their grapevines and fig trees and broke down their trees, all the trees. He commanded, and the locusts came, countless millions of them. They ate all the plants in the land, and they ate all the crops. He killed the firstborn sons of all the families of Egypt. Then he led the Israelites out. They carried silver and gold, and all of them were healthy and strong. The Egyptians were afraid of them, and were glad when they left. God put a cloud over his people, and a fire at night to give them light. They asked, and he sent quails. He gave them food from heaven to satisfy them. He opened the rock, and water gushed out, flowing through the desert like a river. He remembered his sacred promise to Abraham, his servant. So he led his chosen people out, and they sang and shouted for joy. He gave them the lands of other peoples, and let them take over their fields, so that his people would obey his laws and keep all his commands. The Lord.